growing up in Iowa City, it's about 3 hours from Chicago. So, but it's not like a big city like Chicago or New York, but it's not a small town either. It's a good-sized city and plenty to do. They have a college. The University of Iowa is right there in town, so a lot of college sports to go watch. So growing up, I was a big fan of all the Iowa sports teams, mostly basketball and football. It's not a big city like Chicago. There's no, skyscrapers or too tall buildings. So in that sense, I'd say, it's more like here. But it's still, bigger than Sloops here. More traffic a little bit, more higher population, so more people there. But yeah, it's not like a big city, so it's not like too busy or loud in that sense. So it was a great city to grow up in. Definitely love always getting the chance to go back home and spend a couple months there in the summer, in the off season. I was born, kind of into a basketball family. Both my parents have a long basketball history. Both my parents played basketball in college. My dad played for Lafayette, which is out on the East Coast, the eastern part of the country. And my mom played for Drake University, which is actually in the state of Iowa. So both playing college basketball, and then both went on to end up coaching college. My mom coached women's basketball at Indiana State University, and my dad coached women's basketball at Virginia, then ended up coaching men's basketball at Iowa. And then after that, he left the college game and got into the NBA. He was a scout for the Philadelphia 76ers. So he would, go travel throughout the country, watching a bunch of different college basketball games, writing up his opinions, reporting back to the team on, which players' strengths, weaknesses, which players are looking good for the upcoming draft, and what players, the Sixers, want to take a look at and stuff like that. So obviously, him having that job as a kid, that was super cool. Being able to talk with him about different players, different games that he had watched and had been to, and seeing him, type up his reports and send them in. As a kid who loved basketball growing up, it was definitely cool to have him, doing that and to be able to talk with him about that. And then obviously having a mom too with such a big basketball background. It was definitely helpful in my career for me growing as a player. But yeah, you could also say from the beginning, I was basically, it was kind of destiny for me to play basketball because both my parents had been involved with the game of basketball for so long. Yeah, so my dad, he joined the Sixers staff in 2001, and then he worked with them all the way up until he retired in, I believe, 2017 or 2018. Around that time is when he retired. So he was with them for 16, 17 years. So he recruited and scouted a bunch of different players. I think most notable and most recent that people would recognize is Joel Embiid. I remember him. I obviously couldn't travel with him, but I remember him going to Kansas games. He would talk to different people, different coaches on the phone. Getting different opinions on, because scouting is obviously you see the basketball side of things, but he also looks at people's character and does research. He put a lot of lot of effort into his job, and which I was, I respected a lot. He wanted to give it his all, and so he did all the research he needed, and yeah, I do remember him, going to a bunch of different Kansas games, and talking to people with Embiid. I think another one back in the day I remember closely was Evan Turner. He played at Ohio State, and they ended up drafting him pretty high. And I remember him going to some Ohio State games, and Ohio State plays in the same conference as Iowa, so I actually, when they played the road game at Iowa, was able to go to a game with him and watch and just kind of see how he went about watching these games and the notes he would take and stuff like that. Yeah, they were able to, both my parents and my younger brother were able to make the trip over for the holidays, and they got to see 3 games, 2 of them here, and then the road game in Big Gush. So they loved it, I think. They loved coming over, one, obviously to visit me and see me in person, see me play in person. But just to experience, the different culture of Poland and the town of Słupsk and some surrounding cities that we were able to go to, and just, kind of see and compare the differences between, Poland and their culture here with, how they live every day in America and stuff like that. And I think that was very interesting to them. We went to Gdansk, Uska, and then they went down to Big Gush a little early for the game and got to explore a little bit down there too. So yeah, I think they enjoyed it a lot, coming here, and then obviously getting to spend Christmas and New Year's with me. So we had, all 4 of us together was pretty special too. Yeah, so when I said my mom, played college basketball, she actually also played college tennis. Back then the seasons were opposite each other, so she was able to do both. So she was a very good tennis player, growing up throughout her life. And when she met my dad and, they started dating, got married, she kind of got him into the sport. So by the time I was born, both my parents, enjoyed the sport of tennis. So while they obviously started me in playing basketball at a young age, they also got me on the tennis court at a very young age. So growing up, as much as I love basketball, I actually kind of also fell in love with that sport and put in a lot of practice and, played a lot of tennis growing up, which was fun for me. And, I experienced a lot of success throughout high school. And then once I graduated high school and it was time to go to college, I kind of had to pick a sport. And, I knew as much as I love tennis, I really, loved the game of basketball and wanted my future career to continue in basketball. So I kind of, stopped the serious part of tennis. I still, love in the off season when I'm home. I'll call a couple friends up. I still play with my family. I still like to get out there on the tennis court and play some. I think throughout my entire life that'll always be a sport that I'll love to always get back to and play a little bit for fun. Yeah, in college I went to Central Michigan University and experienced a great 4-year career. And it was a fun experience for me. College was the first time, I kind of, get out and live on my own. So it was definitely an adjustment period, but also a very fun time to, kind of continue to grow up and continue to, grow as a man, but also grow as a basketball player. I had a really good coaching staff there. Really enjoyed playing for them, and some great teammates. So it was just a really fun experience. And like I said, on top of that, was able to experience some success and set some records. And yeah, it was just I definitely always look back and cherish those 4 years I was able to play and spend at Central Michigan. It's more of like a mid-major, so it's not super small. It's still Division I, but it's definitely not like the level of Duke, North Carolina, Iowa, Kentucky. Those are the really big schools. It's a smaller school, and in a little smaller conference, but it was definitely big enough and a good size, and still a great competition to play against. Yeah, it was actually interesting. Definitely a different experience, especially because my senior year was 2020. So as soon as our basketball season ended, that's kind of when the entire world shut down with COVID. So I actually, didn't even go through a typical graduation ceremony. They kind of just mailed my document, my diploma in the mail, and everyone was, in their houses, social distancing, everything that happened right when COVID hit. So yeah, I got my degree in finance, and then kind of the world's all shut down, so it was all right. Obviously, going from college to start your professional career is already going to be an adjustment period, and then on top of that, the entire world's in a pandemic that, is once in a lifetime. No one expected to ever experience anything like that. So it was definitely an interesting experience. I was training, obviously wanting to start my professional career, get going. I signed with an agent, and me and him have a really good relationship now, and so we were talking all summer about opportunities, and he came with me saying UCAM Murcia in Spain, ACB wanted to sign. So we were able to come to agreement with them, and that August I headed over to Spain to start my professional career as a rookie, which obviously coming from Central Michigan straight to ACB is definitely an adjustment, but also a blessing that that team was willing to take a chance on me. And that first year in Spain was definitely a great experience, and has helped me, as a professional player. And then, that first year in Spain, was just weird because as every league across the world experienced, I think, you're playing in front of empty gyms, no matter the league, everyone was used to playing. They're used to playing in front of, all these fans, and now it's kind of like a scrimmage almost, that type of feeling, zero fans, you can hear the players talking, you can hear everything because there's no fans in the arena. So, that was definitely an interesting experience. And then the next year I went off to play at PAOK in Thessaloniki, Greece. And so that was the year that fans started to be able to watch again in the arena, and so that started out, kind of turned into my first professional season in front of fans, and those fans in Greece are very passionate as well. So that was a very fun season, getting to play in front of that fan base. Seeing their support, and kind of create that home environment for us. So this is year 3 for me. Obviously came here to Charney. I think, just talking with my agent, talking with coach, I talked with a couple players that, played here in the past, and, kind of heard nothing but great things about this place. about the fan base, the support we receive from them, about, you know, the town we live in, the league, the Polish league. Obviously, this is my first year playing in Poland, and it just seemed like a great fit for me to come here, to continue my career here with Charney, and you know, hopefully, you know, compete and reach both individual goals I have for myself, and, you know, most importantly, achieve the goals that we set out as a team. You know, coming in as a shooter and experiencing a lot of success in the past shooting the ball, it was a tough start for me. You know, the first, you know, month or so, I'm shooting 20% or whatever from three. I don't think I've even in my entire career can remember a stretch, that long of a stretch where I had struggled that much. So mentally, it was a little tough for me. And I wasn't used to, you know, to going through that. But, you know, with the support of my teammates, you know, obviously my family, they're all the way across the world in America, but, you know, phone calls and stuff like that, you know, they're always watching online, being able to stream the games, they're always supporting me. So, you know, talking with them, you know, just staying in the gym, putting the work in with our coaches before and after practice, putting some extra work in, kind of just getting the feel of my shot back. I think that was key, and eventually, obviously, you know, that first game where, you know, more shots started falling through, getting my confidence back up, getting more of a rhythm was big. And then, you know, since then, I feel like, you know, obviously every shot's not going to go in. You know, you're still going to have some bad games. That's just how basketball goes. But overall, I feel like I've felt more comfortable, felt more like myself shooting the ball out there, and hopefully just can continue to improve and get better, and just do whatever I can, you know, to help my team win some games. Yeah, you know, like I said, our entire fan base, you know, the support has been unreal. You know, it started, I mean, and like I said, you know, in coming here, I had talked to people who had played here, you know, had done some research, seen clips from games in the past. And so I kind of had an idea of how supportive this fan base was, but even to see it, you know, just those first preseason games, you know, it's a preseason game that means nothing. It doesn't go on the schedule or on the record. It doesn't count towards anything. And we had, you know what, 80% of this place full for maybe even more. I just remember thinking, wow, like if it's this packed for a preseason game, I can't wait to get the game started. And then, you know, you see these fans traveling on the road. Like I said, last week we had, I don't even know how many fans. It seemed like even half that place was Charney fans, which was amazing. So the support's been great. And then, yeah, I honestly don't even know how it came about or who started it or what. But yeah, hearing all these fans chant my name, and during the game or after the game and everything. You know, it's a running joke. Everyone loves the chant. I love the chant. But it truly does mean a lot. You know, it's fun. It's great. And it just, you know, having that support from everyone, you know, only motivates me more to continue to improve, continue to give it my all, and, you know, get the results that we all want on the court.